Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paramecia, a One Piece fancast where we... What do we do?
What do we do? You want to take it one more time?
Yeah, I'll take it one more time. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paramecia, a One Piece fancast where we discuss every week's chapters. Today, we're on break. Well, One Piece is on break. We're not. We're working 24/7, 365. That's a lie. My name is Franz.
My name is John.
And today we're going to be doing a discussion episode since, like I mentioned earlier, we're on break this week. So this discussion is not going to be something so deep as our last one that was related to Reverie and Merjois and all of that.
The last two discussions have been really sort of deeper dives into like stuff that's to come, like Wano Country or like Reverie. Like we got really deep in like theory craft and like we got our hands dirty with those ones. And this, compared to those discussions, this one is going to be very, very tame.
I mean, not so tame, I would say. More fun.
Yeah, it won't be as intense, I guess I should say. Like, it won't be as, like, I'm not going to recite to you, like, characters like theoretical blood types in Wano and how that's going to affect the outcome of the story, like...
Now hold on, let's see if that's actually a page on the One Piece wiki. Okay, I'm not gonna actually do this. Yeah. So, this week's discussion is going to be our favorite and least favorite manga arcs. We're doing this in an effort to not include, like, filler episodes and stuff, because... I'm gonna be straight. I have not really watched much of the anime itself, and I have no idea what happens in any filler episode.
Yeah, I haven't watched the anime too much, but of the filler anime I have seen, the horse from Ren and Stimpy was my reaction. Like, no, sir, I don't like it. I don't really like any of the filler. Some of them is like more passable than others, but I don't know. I'm one of those manga weeaboo purists.
I feel that. So, let's just jump right into it.
I will mention really quick, there is one important rule that we set aside because I think it's very important. We each came up with a list of three of our favorite arcs and three of our least favorite arcs. We have decided to...
We've made some exclusions.
Yeah, we have decided to withhold... we're not allowing Marindford on the favorites list, and we're not allowing Davy Back fight on the least favorites list, because those are objectively... Marindford is objectively a, like, fantastic arc, and Davy Back fight is objectively a bad arc. So...
like, do you want to, like, go into that, like, a little bit?
I guess Marindford is like the culmination of basically the entire first half of the story. Like that's, yeah. Before the time skip, Marindford is like the culmination of everything that has happened up to that point, coming together into like the biggest war we had ever seen at that point. And it was
also like a huge sign of things to come because, all the top rank, like, military officers were there, the Shichibukai were there were Yonko there, it was a whole fucking bloodbath.
Yeah, up until that point in the story, the most powerful people we knew of were there, like, Shanks, I mean, although he appeared at the end to end the war, like, he appeared, Whitebeard and his entire crew were there, Blackbeard was there, Luffy was there with Boa Hancock, freaking Dracula Mihawk, like all the Shishibukai are there, all the freaking Navy vice admirals and the admirals, and oh my god, like there was so many players in Marindford that it was like it just played out as an amazing arc.
It was basically that one video of Justin Wong where he's playing Mortal Kombat X.
And he's
against the little kid.
Welcome to the real world. This is the real world.
That's what Marindford was.
Yeah, that's what Marindford was for Luffy. I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah, that's precisely the reason. We could both probably go on and on about how good
Oh
Marindford is.
yeah. Let's go to
the other side
Davy
of the spectrum.
Back. God, the best way we've put it reductively is that this is the arc that we're like, it is this canon?
Yeah,
especially is. Like this was around when, like, you know, you were young enough that you were only like you were only watching the anime and everything, and it was still the 4Kids dub, stuff like that. Or like, I don't know if Funimation had their hands on it at this point.
Yeah, Funimation. I guess quick aside. So when Toonami came back onto the air, after the April Fool's joke in like 2009 or 10.
13, 14? Fuck.
I think so. It was an April Fool's joke. It was while I was still in college. I remember that's when the first April Fool's joke happened. But then, anyways, it came back in like that year. You said like 2012 or 13 or so. It came back, and they had the rights to One Piece through Funimation this time. And when they brought One Piece back, they decided the first episode they were gonna start on was right after Skypiea. So it went into, or no, it was right after fuck, hold on. Now I'm getting confused. Basically, the Davy Back fight was like not too far off from where they started.
Oh, then it's before Skypiea. Unless you're thinking of one of the multiple times that Davy Back has come back.
Yeah, no. Okay, that's what it was. It was right because when it ended, when Toonami ended the first time, when they played One Piece the first time, like all those years back, the last episode they aired was Skypiea. So then when it came back this time around, they started with the Davy Back fight, which takes place right after Skypiea. And oh my god, what a horrible fucking arc. Like, it's just, I mean, we'll just get into it. It's literally nothing fucking happens. It's the most, like, everybody probably thinks it's filler, and it's actually canon. And it's, like, man, I mean, I get it, okay, it's like a break between two giant fucking arcs. Like, looking back at it now, it's like, okay, like, Skypiea is huge, and then we get this break, kind of fun, like, in between to kind of, like, rest, and then we go straight into freaking Water 7 and Eni's Lobby. But man, does nothing happen in that, and Foxy and his pirate crew are just so boring and bland,
and they come back so many times. There's a movie with them. Like, there's like, if there might be multiple movies, I might be mistaken. It's
honestly, okay, Davy Back fight, hear me out, is Oda's forced meme. Like, Oda is trying to force the Davy Back meme on us, and nobody wants it.
He has so much pull with the editors, where it's like, this is funny, guys, and the editor's like, yeah, Mr. Oda, it's not, and it's like, no, it's funny. It's like, it's not, no, and it's like, we need you to, like, continue, and it's like, it's funny.
Yeah, I'll only continue if you say it's funny. It's a bad. The only redeeming quality of this arc is that, like, at the very end of the arc, it introduces Aokiji, and it's the lead into Water 7. Like, the only good thing about this arc is that it leads straight into Water 7, which is Godlike.
The only good thing about the arc is that it ends.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, basically. So we decided to exclude those two because they're obviously, like, if we didn't exclude them, they would take spots on both of our lists, like, instantly.
Yeah, so let's just jump straight into it and see if we pull up any other similarities or something.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm not necessarily doing it in order of, like, my least favorite, my second least favorite, I don't know if I'm not doing it in any kind of order, except for you had mentioned you wanted to do the one I wanted to talk about most at the end. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah,
that's pretty much how I have it set up too. I have 3 for each in no particular order. The only thing is the one that we have the most to talk about is going to be the last one we say on our list. That'll be our quote unquote number 1. Not in
Okay.
terms of ranking, just in terms of that's what we have the most to talk about.
And a full disclaimer, whatever we say about any of this, we're not objectively saying, like, this is, other than Davy Back,
Yeah,
we're not saying this is garbage. We're not saying, like, oh, you suck if you like this arc. You suck if you support this. Like, you know...
Yeah, if
it's
you like
my
these
onion.
arcs, like, that's... Yeah, it's my onion. Yeah, if you like these arcs, like, that's... I mean, if you like the arcs that we don't like, more power to you. And if you dislike the arcs we do like, again, more power to you. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and fight you.
So, yeah, I'll start. Fuck it.
Yeah, go ahead and start.
I don't know how you might feel about this.
Oh, are you starting with least favorite or favorite?
Least favorite.
Okay,
I'm starting
we'll
with
do-
least
yeah,
favorite.
okay.
Good. So, the first thing on my least favorite list is categorically called the Jaya arc, according to the One Piece Wikia.
Yes.
And so what it is basically everything going up towards the Sky Island. And for me, a lot of it was kind of just like sluggish. It does have its importance in that it foreshadows so many things. It foreshadows Sanji and the whole Vinsmoke stuff. It foreshadows Dressrosa. It foreshadows a lot of things. It foreshadows Blackbeard.
Yeah, it even foreshadows, like, the entire ending of Skypiea, like the Nolan, like, legend, like,
Oh, yeah, exactly.
all that stuff. Like, it's, yeah, it sets up a lot of stuff, but continue, yeah, I feel you.
But, like, you know, as you're going through it and on the way there, it's like a little like, okay, where are we going? When is it?
Yeah,
When,
alright.
when are we going to the sky? Get me there right now. That, and like, I really didn't like the whole, like, the mock town portion of it that included Bellamy.
Yeah.
I don't really like
Just
Bellamy
hate
that much
Bellamy.
as a character. I kind of fucking hate Bellamy as a character
Yeah, Oda,
because of like how stubborn he is in a lot of ways, and
yeah,
just...
Oda is setting him up to have like some sort of redemption. Like after Dressrosa, we're supposed to feel like sorry for him, and it's like, oh, like, you know, he's part of the Grand, or he's not. He's technically part of the Grand Fleet because he has Luffy's Vivre card, but he's like, oh, he's got to go on his own and search for stuff. I fucking hate him. he's such a shitty character. Like, fuck him. Anyways, continue.
So, you know, like I mentioned a bunch of different things and like justifications. The crux of it all is that I don't like Bellamy.
Yeah.
And this was his introduction, and like in my mind, everything revolving around him was very prominent in this arc. There was a philosophical bit with Luffy and Blackbeard, and that was pretty cool, but
yeah,
at the same time, the way Blackbeard was characterized then, I feel like it could have, like, it wouldn't have been on the nose if it was a little more foreshadowed, I think.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
So yeah, that's about it. Fuck Bellamy.
Yeah.
What's your first pick?
My first pick for my first pick for least favorite was Thriller Bark. And I should say, I'll preface this by saying a lot of the least favorites that two of the least favorites I picked, like, I like them in context for the story, but it's just like the stuff the stuff I dislike about them kind of outweighs the stuff I like, the stuff that they present that's good.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree.
Yeah. So Thriller Bark, I really like in context with the whole story, Thriller Bark is very important, just like Jaya was, because it foreshadows a lot of stuff. It introduces Brook to us, at the time the newest Straw Hat member.
It connects Zoro to Wano vis-a-vis the samurai Ryuma, I think.
Yeah, we get Ryuma's introduction, and we get Ryuma's sword in like our hands, which, like, the next time anybody talks about that sword is when we meet Momonosuke and Kinemon. Kinemon directly says, oh, like, you defiled the grave in Wano, like, you stole that sword, give it back. And even freaking Moria, like, the first setup to Wano was in Thriller Bark because Morio Morio was the one who dug up Ryuma's grave and like he tried to take on Kaido in Wano.
Oh yeah, that's true, and that was a whole mess for Gecko Moria.
Yeah, but other than that, man, this arc, it was just, I don't know. I felt it was kind of slow, and some of the action just wasn't really there for me. I did not like Professor Hogback or whatever his name was. I think Doc Hogback was his name. I did not like his character at all. The stuff with Lola and oh my god, what's his name? The invisible jaguar guy.
The guy.
Yeah, anyway, the stuff with Lola and him and Nami was just like, I felt it was too played out, and I didn't really like it. Like, the first time it happened, I was like, it's funny, I guess. And then just, as it went on, it was just like, alright, like, I get it. God, yeah, the last fight with Oars Jr., or the setup into Oars, so, like, you know, Moria takes Luffy's, like, shadows and puts them into Oars Jr., and, like, or he puts them in the Oars, not Oars Jr., sorry. And he brings Oars back, and Oars is, like, all the parts where Oars is walking around, and he's, like, acting like Luffy, like, I just did not, like, I just wasn't following it. The part I love about the arc was again when it ended, because then we got Blackbeard being chosen as the next Shishibukai, and we got Kuma's like altercation with the Straw Hat Pirates, and that was pretty cool, or his first altercation.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here because surprise surprise, Thriller Bark's my second pick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'll let you take over from here with anything I might have missed.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of the stuff with Hogback and Oars at the end. It was a little kind of like, especially Nightmare Luffy. The whole concept of that was, I don't, like, I get it.
Yeah.
But like, it was like Deus Ex Machina, and it was just like...
Yeah, it was very, very out of nowhere. And it was Deus Ex Machina. It was the textbook definition of Deus Ex Machina, like.
And, like, you know, One Piece has some standards as far as, like, not doing that so often. But this is one of the times where it was just like, y'all fucked up. Like,
yeah.
This is Deus Ex Machina. There's no way around it. But there are a bunch of things that I really do like about it. Piranha's Piranha's character design is probably one of my favorite in the entire series, and I really like Piranha. Her characterization. So her introduction here is great. I really love the panel of her like freaking out and everything.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But you know, there's the whole introduction to the concept of Yonko, period.
Yeah.
All it did for the exposition, great, fantastic. I would have been better off reading off the Wikipedia page at that point, because it was just like, it was hard to get through, and I feel a lot of people stopped there. Like, our friend Glenn, he was considering stopping at Thriller Bark, and I'm like,
I remember that.
God,
yeah.
just let's pack up and let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
Adri's stuck permanently in Thriller Bark. I don't think like
she's like, never just have her skip it, honestly. Just
yeah, exactly. That's what I told her. Like, you can skip it, and then like, I mean, I would normally say read the Wikipedia, but like, so many things happen that you never know. Like, oh, Ace is dead. Oh fuck, I didn't know that. Like,
yeah,
that's the danger about Wikipedias. But like, you know, I could tell her like anything that happened, and honestly, if you miss the context of Thriller Bark, you can absorb it through context clues that arise later. That, and they explain like what Yonko are like 50 billion times.
Yeah. So. If I have to, I'll give my like final. I'll give like a final wrap up, because I think you'll agree with Thriller Bark. It's like, in terms of the characters, nothing of importance happens, and I think that's why it feels so like bland compared to the other ones. Because like before that, we got Ine's Lobby. We got so much character development for every single character. We got like power feats. We got like new powers. We got Asura mode and all the stuff. And even even if it didn't precede something like Ines Lobby, or not precede, even if it didn't come after something like Ines Lobby, even still, like before that was Skypiea, and even like Jaya and like the Alabaster, like all of those had character development that happened, and like, you know, the characters went somewhere, like not physically, like the characters' writing went somewhere, and this one it was just like the straw, like they didn't do anything, they were just there fighting Moria, and then they beat him.
Yeah,
that was it.
Most of what happened as far as the characters themselves was we had some insight to Nami a bit, like through the whole Lola interaction.
Through Lola. Yeah, that was good.
That was cool. That it really wasn't that much.
Yeah.
And then we got Brooke. That's it.
Yeah.
So that was my pick number 2. Go for your pick number 2.
My pick number 2 was Punk Hazard. So post time skip Punk Hazard. I remember. Okay, so I remember the first time I started reading One Piece, like on a weekly basis. It's funny. The first chapter I ever read when I decided to start reading One Piece weekly was the chapter where at the very end it says, "And so the Straw Hats were utterly defeated." I was like, what the fuck? Did it end? Like, I was so mad. But then, like, I kept reading it, and then when I start, like, I kind of fell off a bit. I had just started, so I was kind of off and on. But then I got, obviously when Marindford happened, I got, like, hella into it. But then I remember the day when the time skip was announced, and like all throughout the time skip stuff, like I was reading hardcore after the time skip because it just everything felt so fresh and like new, and I was like, oh, sick. And I liked Fishman Island, and then after Fishman Island we get to Punk Hazard, and the setup for Punk Hazard is cool because like they get there and the island is fire and ice because Aokiji and Aka Inu just fucking went ham on the place.
I remember that was like really good world building.
Yeah, like it was so cool when you get there, and like when they finally told you like, oh, like the island is this way because Akainu and Aokiji were fighting over the fleet admiral position. I'm like, yo, goddamn, like this is the, like, we didn't even see the fight, but we like, you can tell as the reader the power of their devil fruits and them, because they managed to permanently warp the weather on this island. So yeah, that intro was really like strong, I thought. I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick. And then we get the introduction of the laboratory, and we see Law for the first time after the time skip, and then we just get like Caesar. Like Caesar is a cool character. Like I really liked him in Whole Cake Island, and even in Zoe I liked him, but I don't think he is a strong enough. I don't think he's a strong enough villain to carry a whole arc like he attempted.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, it really falls flat. Like, his stuff falls flat. I thought Monet and Virgo were more menacing than he was. And I think they kind of just play. Oda has really tried to play Caesar as like a comical character, which I don't mind, but again, it kind of clashes with like, oh, he's the main villain of this arc, but he's like not a villain. I mean, he is, but it was a stretch. But I think that the part I disliked about this arc the most was the bit where the poison monster, the like mudkip thing, is just slowly creeping into the laboratory, and all of the Straw Hats are split up, and god damn, that fucking part of the arc just took fucking forever. Like, I remember reading week to week, and like we would cut back to characters and fucking nothing would happen. Like, I remember there was a couple chapters where literally there was no movement. Like, nothing happened. Physically too, there was no movement. Like, they didn't leave a room. Like, they were just talking about like, oh, this poison's gonna kill us, and then nobody moved, and then the chapter was over. Like, it drug on really long, and I think it was to me, it was the worst Oda has done at separating characters, and I want to say it's because it was the first time he's tried to write an arc where every character's doing their own separate thing. Because I don't remember that happening pre-time skip where every character's like separated and he's constantly cutting back and forth between them.
Well, Thriller Bark is an example of that.
Yeah, Thriller Bark, yeah, he did do that, but
which is kind of a trend, I think, and like it's a point that I want to make because, running under the assumption based off our very, very flawed memories that Thriller Bark is the first time where he attempted like, let's split up, gang.
Yeah.
Punk Hazard being the second time that happens. Last time that really happens, I would say would be Dressrosa. And you can really see how much he improved, like, each and every one. Whereas, like, Thriller Bark, nothing happened. Punk Hazard, one thing happened.
Yeah.
Dressrosa, everything happened at the same time, just like he wanted to. And that's what he seemed to have wanted to do prior, but, shit happens.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's pretty much all I have to say on Punk Hazard. My main thing with it was that, like, it kept cutting back and forth, but, like, they were so separated that, like, nothing would happen. And when things did happen, I felt the effect was kind of lessened because, like, we only got a snippet of something, and then we would cut... Like, we got a snippet of something happened, and then it was surrounded by cuts back and forth to nothing happening, and it's... I don't know. There were some cool bits in there, don't get me wrong. Like, Doflamingo going there and then like almost getting like bodying Smoker and then almost getting into a fight with Aokiji was like crazy. Zoro fucking destroying Monet was sick.
That was the best power play.
Yeah.
That entire arc.
And then Tashigi and Smoker, like their inclusion in this arc is so good. Even Chopper, I really liked Chopper. Chopper got a lot of characterization in that arc because him and the little girl that was poisoned.
Fuck you, John. This is the best arc.
Yeah.
2 reasons. Exhibit A. Frankie in Chopper's body. Robin telling him that he'll fucking kill him if he ever speaks again in that body.
Yes.
Exhibit B. Smoker in Tashigi's body.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah,
best arc.
It. Yeah, that was my number 2. Go ahead with your number 1. I'm interested to hear what the hell it is.
I wouldn't say this is like my least favorite. It's just it's something that a lot of people agree with. You're not so much in agreement, but you understand a lot where people are coming from. But my last one for least favorite is Fishman Island.
Yeah.
And it starts kind of like slow in my opinion. Like there's the whole like return to Sabody. That's great and everything. And like they leave Sabody and then it's like the Caribou Pirates and it's like I don't give a shit.
Getting to Fishman Island took longer than it needed to.
Yeah, it was absolutely like pointless. There were a couple of things like but nothing that really mattered. It was very interesting because it really showed no pun intended the depth of the world and how different things could be. And there were a lot of things that I liked, like the whole was that this arc or was that Sabody Island?
Uh-oh.
When hold on, when they the people auction and Luffy like fucking freaks out and decks a Shichibukai. That's Sabody, right?
He decked a Tenryubito that was Sabaody. That was before the time skip.
Okay, then never mind.
Then never mind. This arc sucks. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Like Shirahoshi's like very interesting in that like whatever, like, oh, she's hot, like, she's a giant, please step on me, like, yeah, whatever, let's move past that.
I want her to vor me.
God Christ. So, besides that, the whole concept that she is one of the ancient weapons is absolutely amazing, and we still don't really have a grasp on like
The
how
repercussions of that, yeah.
exactly. But aside from that, like, do do you remember what happens in Fishman Island?
I will give you that. It is very slow moving. Like it is very slow moving. So the lead up into the final fight of the arc is very slow. There's a lot of like politics and shit. So
Yeah,
okay, a lot of the way I describe it is a lot of the real time moments in the arc leading up to the final fight and everything after the fight, during and after, are just really slow getting there. With the exception, in my opinion, of the flashbacks. That's pretty much the whole reason I like Fishman Island so much is because of all the flashbacks we got.
the Sun Pirate flashbacks.
Yeah, Shirahoshi's
So
mom,
good.
the Sun Pirates flashback. We get to see Fisher Tiger. Like, we get to see Fisher Tiger's character, like, the rise and fall of that guy.
It was really good seeing all of that because it provided a lot of very needed world building.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I can agree with that. Like, I can see it. I liked Fishman Island, but I won't sit here and try to defend, like, the sins that it's committed. Like, it was... It was really long, like getting to the point, and then when it got to the point was really well done in my opinion. But getting there was just God. I can agree with that.
So yeah, that's basically it. Like, I don't really remember much of what happened, and I feel like that's a testament to the fact that a lot did happen, but at the same time, not much at all.
Yeah,
So
I can see that.
yeah, that's my third pick.
Yeah. All right. My final pick for least favorite is I Drum Island. I just don't like this arc. It's not that I don't like Walpole.
Okay, I
Walpole's
see.
stupid. Walpole's like I want Shirahoshi to vor me, but I want Walpole to die in a fire. Like, come on. Don't get anywhere near me.
You want Wapple to vor himself.
Yeah, vor himself to death. To death, bro. But no, yeah, I don't like Wapple. I thought a lot of the I just didn't really like a lot of the to me it felt, I mean, it was kind of like an in-between arc, like, cuz we, Nami got sick, so then like I don't know, it's just like we're heading to Alabasta and then Nami gets sick and then we have to go here and introduce Chopper, which Chopper's cool, whatever, cool peoples. But like God, I don't know. It was just that, and then like a lot of the I might be in the minority, but like the connection with Chopper and the doctor that taught him, like I didn't really feel like anything. Like at the end of the arc it was cool, like I was like, oh, that's awesome, like with the Sakura petals.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
All of the stuff where they're building it up, like, oh, Chopper like learned from the best doctor and he's like with Dr. Correa, like I just wasn't feeling any of it. I was just like, this is like, can we please move on? I mean, if I read it again I would probably appreciate stuff a lot more, but it just, I don't know, man. I that wasn't my favorite arc.
I can see what you mean, because like all the Straw Hats have their whole like backstory and everything, and like most of them are like absolutely loaded with emotion, and there is a hierarchy of like who's hurt me more, and like
yeah.
at the tippy top, in my order would be like Robin at the tippy top, and then like maybe a fucking Nami afterwards.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But like at the straight bottom, the bottom three, third I think would be Chopper. Second would be Usopp. They're like interchangeable.
Yeah.
The least, like, I really don't give a shit, fuck off. You is Zoro.
Yup, I knew it. I knew. I was like, throw me down the stairs, brother.
Stairs, man.
Throw me down those stairs, brother.
I like
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, fucking Robin's entire village burnt down. You know, a lot. She saw her mom die. Like, see,
So she died from stairs. Yeah, that's.
and she's maybe not even dead.
All right. Yeah. That's that's all I got to say on Drum Island. I just didn't like it. The pacing was okay, but it just nothing really grabbed me. Like Chopper's character at first in his introduction was not like it was not interesting enough to me to fully pull me in, and then Wapol was a weak villain. I thought like a lot of the people from the other kingdom were just like
Jobbers.
it just wasn't interesting. Yeah, it again to me it was it was like an in between arc to get to Alabasta. Like once we get to Alabasta, all of the stuff that Drum Island tried to do in terms of like the politics and like the hierarchy and the kings and stuff, I felt like Alabasta just did it 10 times better, and it's like, why was this here? But
it was an appetizer to the main course.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So let's move on now.
The good shit, yeah.
The good shit. So mine, the first one on the list for my good shit. What's this called? Imple Down.
Yes. Yes. That's not on my list, but continue.
So Imple Down was a lot of things. So many things happened. It was Luffy's solo recon mission and everything. A lot of old characters came back as very prominent players. Bunch of people from Alabasta came back. It was a very the gang gets together. But what I also really like is the whole fact of the matter that this is the most different thing that has happened in One Piece.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
There is no other arc remotely like this. Like, it's a no survival scenario that, you know, it's not like you didn't feel the stakes. You could feel the high stakes, but at the same time, there was like this kind of like action movie belief that, oh shit, he's gonna do it. Cool, great.
Yeah.
That and like Luffy just got like immunity to poison. Like that's fucking
cool. That was the arc where like Luffy and Blackbeard could have died. Like if their doctors weren't there, they were dead. Like this is
100%.
Yeah, if Ivankov and Blackbeard's doctor were not there, like game over. Like One Piece is over, guys.
And so like the whole like I don't know what to use the Bon Clay and Company because whatever if you're using like the One Piece nomenclature and you know there's a lot of different things it's not a good word to say.
Yeah.
Like no matter what anyone says, like fucking at me, let's go. Like
yeah.
We'll go 1-on-1 in the fucking octagonal ring. You should not refer to any of them as any of that. Unfortunately, Bon Clay was introduced as a fucking like really bad and problematic gag. But in Imple Down, he went like a fucking champ.
He went ham. Ham.
It was great. Like I'm like low-key tearing up
about
having lost Bon Clay at that moment. Because he just sacrificed himself so hard for them and was like, Luffy, you got this. Yeah. Keep on going.
I'll search it up later. I want to say that he's still alive. I'm pretty sure he's in a cover story like that takes place after the time skip.
Man,
don't quote me on that.
So yeah, that's the gist of it. It was just it was the exact polar opposite of what One Piece usually is, and that One Piece is a story about exploration of the high seas and learning more about the world and everything. But this is like high exploration in a very specific place and just keeps on going. They have an idea of what's going on, but not really much, and a lot of it was just really well done for this being a like one-time idea.
Yeah, I could agree with that. He was really like Luffy was on his own in an element that he's never been in, but even then, like, he was able to make comrades out of, like, what we, the reader, viewed like they were the worst of the worst. Like, he got Crocodile, Mr. 2, Mr. 3, like, he got Buggy, like, he got all these people that wanted to kill him before, and, like, for the sole reason of teaming up, like, to get out. Like, he wanted to get out to save Ace, but, like, as a whole, like, their main goal was to leave. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's what we're going through now in fucking Whole Cake Island. They're not trying to stir shit up. They're just trying to fucking leave. Also, good news, apparently Bon Clay is alive. He's the new queen of the island where they live.
Ivankov's island, yeah.
Yeah. I think
That's
that might be the case.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. That's where I stand with that.
Hell yeah. Alright, my first pick my first favorite pick is Ine's Lobby. Like, that... it was a tough top 3 for me to place, but I don't know, I felt I had to put Ine's Lobby on there just because, like, God, in terms of action, it was just so good. Like, we got so many fights that, like, had, like, they're just some of the best fights in manga, period, I think, because they just had so much writing on them. Like, Luffy versus... I think I'll just summarize the whole arc, or my feelings on it, with Luffy versus, what's his face?
Hold on. Give me like 2 seconds.
It starts with an L or something. I'm just gonna call him Lufarigno.
Lucci, right?
Lucci, Rob Lucci, yeah. Yeah, Luffy versus Lucci is, like, that is, like, God, the stakes on that fight were, like, ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm gonna ask you to, like, keep this relatively short, because that's my... Spoilers, that's my big one.
Okay, that's your big one. Yeah, I'll just end it there. It's... There was so much character progression in terms of power feats in that arc, and even just in normal... Like, so much shit happened. The fights were godlike, and they waged war on the world government. What's your number 2? That's where I'll end it.
So... My number 2, which we might have accidentally switcherooed, I have a feeling this might be your number 1. Arlong Park.
You're
Am
right.
I right?
Yeah. You're right. Alright, so fuck you, keep this one short.
Okay, yeah. Shit. Alright, fuck. So, Arlong Park is very important to me for it being the first time where we really see what I feel One Piece is all about. And it's the whole concept of, like, nakama, as many of the fucking weebs, myself included, take directly from the Japanese, in that this is his crew. And at this point, Nami wasn't, like, really on board with them, but he was like, shut the fuck up. Your problem is my problem now. Sit here, little missy. And that's what I really loved about it.
Yeah.
So, you'll continue that. What is your number 2?
My number 2 is Zoe. It was like...
Ooh.
Yeah, it was straight after Dressrosa. It was a fairly short arc compared to, like, every other arc. Like, it was an in-between arc, and it was pretty short. But, god damn, like, so much happened. We got introduction to the Minks. We reunited with the other Straw Hats. We got all of the Straw Hats together minus Sanji, because, you know, it leads directly into Whole Cake Island and all that shit. But we got, like, to see everybody back together again. We got an introduction to the Minks. We got to see the Heart Pirates again. Like, Law was able to reunite with the Heart Pirates again. We reunited, like, Momonosuke with all the samurai. Like, it was... Man, it was fucking... It was just good, dude. Like, it was just...
So much happened, like, characteristically and story-wise, that... It, like, the
we
road
got
poneglyphs.
Yeah,
like...
the road poneglyphs. The information that... Like, the realization that Luffy and Momonosuke can hear the voice of all things, and Momonosuke can actually speak to Zunisha, the elephant that is Zo. God, finding out that the minks and the samurai from Wano have like an eternal bond, that they knew Lord Oden and they knew Lord Oden and Roger, and all of them sailed the sea like way back when. Like, ooh, there was so much world building in Zo that I had to give Zo number 2, because God, it was I mean, I salivate at the thought of like world building. I'm like, yes, more, but I did not expect that much in Zo, and it was ridiculous. And the introduction of Kaido's crew with Jack, and the speech with Doflamingo talking about how the world is like basically on its head, because like Doflamingo's speech is like the best part, one of the best parts of that arc to me.
That's a little biased from you, but I agree.
Yeah, it's a little biased for me, because Doflamingo's like my favorite villain in the series ever so far. But like, yeah, Zo was just a really good world building arc. It did everything so well. Yeah, go ahead with your number 1. Go ahead with Inez Lobby.
So yeah, everything you said about Inez Lobby, I completely agree with. But what it really meant to me was like, to me, Inez Lobby was a whole story about salvation. In just that, everybody needed saving. The whole reason they got into it was of Robin like saving her and just being like, you don't need to do this and all that. And the moment Robin is crying that she wants to live is when I sat there and like, you know, everyone gets like spoiled about One Piece if you're like tangentially like related to like anybody that like consumes One Piece at some point. Like, you might have heard like, oh, Ace dies or something. Like, you know, a lot of other
Daily
than
reminder.
that. Oh yeah, daily reminder, by the way. But other than that, I didn't really receive any spoilers. So this hit me like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
And just everything behind it, considering all the things that we learned about her during the Davy Back arc. And it was beautiful. Like, Frankie was performing great for it being their first time. Like, really, he wasn't even like kind of in the party. He was just like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm here too, get me out, please.
Yeah, he wasn't part of the crew. He was just like, it was so good, because he wasn't part of the crew, but he was also captured by CP9 because he had the blueprints for Uranus.
Pluton?
Pluton. Yeah, Pluton. Uranus is the one we don't know yet. Yeah, he had the blueprints for Pluton, so it's like, you know, he had like direct secrets to the world, like from the Void Century, and then freaking Robin was like the only person in the world who like has the ability to find out what happened in the Void Century, and so they were in like similar standing. And oh yeah.
It's really good. But another thing to the theme of like salvation is like, so there was Robin. To a certain extent, you could say that Soga King was Usopp's salvation of himself.
Yeah.
Where he's sitting there and like that's where he found his courage. He's donning a mask to really become who he really wants to be. And that was really cool. And then in the midst of the whole Buster call, which was the craziest thing to have happened. Like, I was so surprised that it actually went down. Between all of that, there was no hope. Like, Luffy was stuck after defeating Rob Lucci.
Yeah, he had no energy from like expending everything to beat Rob Lucci.
And the Going Merry coming up from below, everyone just hearing it, and the Going Merry showing up.
Oh, yeah.
That
when
made
Usopp
me cry.
Screams like, everybody, like, into the ocean. They jump. Just they take a leap of faith, and then they see them Going Merry, like, oh my god.
I was blindsided by that.
Yeah.
I had I was like, the fuck's going on? Like, what kind of writing is this? And then the moment it happened, the going Mary being there to save everybody is the one moment in One Piece that made me cry the most.
Yeah. There have been a lot of moments that was definitely one that hit the harder of them all.
Yeah, and it was just magnifique.
Yeah.
So off that, what is your last the best?
Arlong Park.
Well, yeah.
This is like one of my favorite arcs, like just in the whole series. Partly because of nostalgia, because this was, so like I said, I started reading One Piece week to week, right on the chapter where everybody gets beaten by Kuma, and then it's like, and on that day the Straw Hats were utterly defeated. But I actually got into One Piece through the 4Kids dub. Like, shitty as it was,
it was like, what other way were you going to get exposed?
Yeah, exactly. That was the first time I actually watched One Piece, and I remember watching a good amount of it, like every week, and I watched all the way through the Arlong Park saga, and I remember Arlong Park seeming like kind of cool. I was like, oh man, like this is cool. Like, the fish guys and some of the fights and like the karate and shit. That's cool. That's cool. And then Nami got a lot of like characterization. Like she had her own flashback, but it never really like hit me until when I started actually getting into One Piece, like for real, and I found like the canon shit. Man, Arlong Park is so good. Like up until the entirety of the beginning the beginning portion of the story, and where the Romance Dawn stuff, like the East Blue saga. Like, we get introduced to Nami really early on, and she joins us. Like, she joins the crew, and, her character is like, oh, she's kind of spunky, and she steals from everybody because she likes money. Like, that's her gag. She wants money, and she nickel and dimes you for everything. But just when we get near Arlong Park, and then she robs the crew, and she's like, oh, like, don't take it too hard. Like, I'm not a part of your squad. Like you said earlier, like, Luffy wants answers. He's like, no, like, no, like, we need to find out what happened. Like, she's still part of our crew. We need to go help her. And just the realization that, like, the reason that Nami is like this is because she's trying to buy everybody their freedom from Arlong, who's the main villain, the Fishman. And, like, I don't, in her flashback, you just get to see, like, even when they present Arlong, like, before Fishman Island happened, where we really got a deep dive into like the institutional like racism that exists between fishmen and humans, like before we got any of that, Oda did it so perfectly. You can totally tell that Arlong's hatred for humans isn't something normal. It isn't like just a grudge. It's the way he portrays it in Arlong Park is like, you can tell like Arlong has some pretty like terrifying moments when he's interacting with some of the humans, and it's just like, it's one of those things where you can tell that's not like normal hatred. And it's again, when Fishman Island runs around, and like you can just tell that it's like that the racism in the world exists, and like this is, Arlong is a direct like
He's a direct product of a lot of that. And it shows so much world building so early on.
So
early
on, yeah.
Really realize.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I don't know, seeing Arlong like treat Nami the way knowing that Arlong is as racist as he is, like seeing him treat Nami the way he does, like even before it happens, you can tell, you're like, oh, Arlong's a scumbag. Like, he's not gonna keep his promise. And then just, man, that was like one of the first moments that made me like, fuck, like it shot through the heart, dude.
And you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name. Yeah.
when Arlong snitches on Nami, and he tells the Navy guy who he's working with, like paying off. When he tells him where Nami's secret stash of money is, and then when Nami comes angry at Arlong, and then he's like, oh, guess you're gonna have to get it again, and he just starts laughing, and that laugh and like Nami's face is so like, fuck, dude. Like,
yeah, it's really iconic of a lot of the emotions that happened then.
It's crazy. So early on to introduce this kind of like racism within the world and to do it in such a confined area. Like he didn't even like overtly, like a lot of other shittier stories will overtly say like, oh, we hate humans or whatever, but Arlong, I don't think he said like we hate humans because they're inferior until like way later in the arc. Like all the interactions we got to him like were just genuine like hatred.
He didn't tell us that racism was a prominent thing. He showed us.
Yeah.
Between
yeah.
Arlong Park, between the whole like smuggling ring in Sabadee, there are so many instances in which, you know, the animosity between a lot of the races in One Piece really hits hard.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a grown-up topic.
Yeah. It was definitely, the way I tell it to people is if you're trying to get into One Piece, you know, the first 100 chapters include all the way through like Arlong Park, so it's kind of long to like go through, like if you just want like, you know, an introduction to it all. But honestly, like the first, if you don't even read the first 100 chapters, like if you literally just like start at Arlong Park, like kind of get caught up here and there through the wiki, through like what happens when they meet the other characters, because before Arlong Park it's like you get to meet Sanji through the Baratier, which is good, and you get to meet like, you know, Zoro, and it introduces Zoro, Nami, and all those. But man, Arlong Park is where the first moment in the beginning, that's where you get to realize like, oh shit, like this isn't, you know, this ain't no Dragon Ball. Like this is something. This ain't no Naruto. This is way like this is something else.
Like I said about it earlier, like it's really the moment where I feel One Piece became what One Piece is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. And then it, you know, all of that stuff culminating in the final fight at Arlong, all of that culminating into the biggest moment of the arc, which is Nami like hysterically crying and like stabbing at her tattoo of Arlong because she just doesn't know what to do. And man, I can watch that. I can watch this scene like anytime and still get goosebumps. Is when Nami is like crying and she says like, Luffy, like help me. Like she's telling him to get away, and then she just breaks down and says help me, and Luffy puts the hat on her. Man, the walk to Arlong Park is like the greatest scene ever. Like, because it's just all four of them, like, you know, Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp. Like, they all know. They don't say a word on the walk to Arlong Park, but they know. They're like you said earlier, like, they hurt our friend. Like, we gotta stop this.
Damn, it's so good.
Yeah, Arlong Park is probably not probably, fuck, it is my favorite arc, just for that, because again, that's the moment where you really like One Piece starts, pretty much. Like that's where it begins.
Damn. So yeah,
that's
shit. That's our
those are
least
pretty good
favorite,
lists. Yeah,
and our most favorite. And again, if you agree, cool. If you disagree, also cool.
Yeah.
As long as you don't like Davy Back, that's the whole takeaway.
Yeah. If you like Davy Back, if you like Davy Back, we won't see you next week.
I mean, if you word it like that, that's a little ominous.
Yeah, if you don't like Davy Back, we're coming for you.
So we'll be back next week with chapter 892? Question mark?
I believe so, unless I'm going crazy.
Sure. I mean, like, are we ever right about anything?
Sometimes. Yeah, 892 is the next chapter next week.
Okay, cool. And yeah, have a good week. Don't like Arling Park. Fuck.
Just end it there. Fuck.